Hey everybody, we're doing something a little bit different today. Instead of my 40-minute long rambling videos that are excellent, I'm just going to take a look at one specific unit, everybody's favorite guy that sits in the back and shoots a bunch of spore mines, the Biovore. So this was taken from a recent video I made on specifically invasion fleet tactics, but it had a bunch of Tyranid tactics in it as well. Broke down a little bit what the Biovore does for every single army. So there's a couple obvious things. Of course, it's going to score engage on all fronts and behind enemy lines for secondaries. But there's a couple other things that you can do with the Biovore that I'm going to actually go through and talk to you about in TTS just to show you how to do those things. So before I hop on over there, real quick, it's going to turn off advances for your opponent's models because you can't do it within 6 of the Spore Mine. It's going to move block and cut movement of other enemy models. It's going to screen out deep strikes. And then last but certainly not least, your Biovore has OC. It's going to be on your home objective and it's going to score you primary throughout the entire game. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so before we get into the tactics of it, let's just take a second to really dive into the Biovore datasheet itself to help us understand what it's going to be doing before we get into the nitty gritty of why it is so good. It has wounds and toughness. I'm not gonna lie to you, it is kind of tough, and people are sometimes surprised by how bulky it is at T6, 5 wounds, 3 up save. That's fine. That's not really what we're using the Biovore for. It's ranged weapon. It's 48 inches, blast, devastating wounds, heavy, and indirect fire. Hits on 4s. It's D3 attacks. Strength 6, -1 AP, and then 2 damage. It's actually not that bad of a gun if you end up actually shooting it. I've popped transports before. I've killed single characters with just one shot of a Biovore before. So it is something that you can do, especially the devastating wounds. You roll on a 6 to wound, you can easily snipe something out with just 2 damage, which is very funny, actually. But the real reason why we are taking the Biovore is the Seed Spore Mines ability. Once per turn, in your shooting phase, when selected to shoot, one unit with this ability can use it instead of making any attacks with its ranged weapons. If it does, you can add one new Spore Mine unit to your army and set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is wholly within 48 inches of this unit and more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy units. That Spore Mine unit contains one model for each model in this unit. Before we go back to TTS land, we're talking about why I think the Spore Mines are actually so special. It's got 2 main abilities. The first one is Biomine Field. This is the good one, in my opinion. This is the good one. Enemy units cannot start or end an advanced move within 6 inches of this unit. Now, for our purposes, the unit is just going to contain one model. So it's just one, I believe, a 25 millimeter base, which is small, but that's still 6 inches out from that in either direction, in any direction, where enemy models cannot begin or end an advance move. This can really mess up your opponent's game plan, especially if they're trying to advance a charge or advance onto an objective, etc. The second ability, basically, when you come within 3 inches of it, it's going to explode. If you roll a 1, nothing happens. 2 through 5, it's 1 mortal. On a 6, D3 mortals. It can happen, but it's whatever. You're mainly going in this for the 6-inch advance denial. We are back in TTS land. We are going up against a bunch of orcs. We really don't want them to advance and charge in all of our beautiful bugs' faces. Okay, so we're gonna use a Spore Mine to help us. A couple of things that you can do with the Spore Mine. Of course, it drops outside of 9 inches from enemy models. Wow, that was a pretty good drop right there. Now, if I drop it here, right outside of 9, these trucks, they normally move 12, correct? So that means that they're only going to be able to move right outside of 1 inch of the Spore Mine. Yes, it will blow up then, but instead of getting this truck's full 12-inch movement, which let's check where that was, it's chilling right here. Normally this truck would be able to go all the way up to here. All right. Oh gosh, here-ish. Now, instead of him getting all the way up there, he's blocked by the Spore Mine, and he will only be able to move up here. So he's 1 inch out. So normally, what would be a 12-inch movement. Since I put him 9 away, it's essentially an 8-inch movement and has effectively cut off 4 inches of movement with this truck. All right. In addition, if he decides to disembark, which would probably not be a good plan for the orcs, normally they can move 9 inches out of the truck, right? Which is fine. So I guess they will get their whole movement right there. Or it probably would be actually from that. So I'm cheating myself a little bit from the orc player. So normally he would get 9 out. However, same thing, if you want to disembark, you would still have to end your movement an inch out of this spore mine, effectively blocking you an inch and getting you, that much further away from all of my beautiful bugs. Please don't come near me. which is very good. Cutting 4 inches, cutting 1 or 2 inches off a spooky, scary melee threat like the orcs is very good. Now, let's say they're in their trucks and they want to advance. If I put a spore mine here, that's going to block out 6 inches where they cannot advance. 6-inch diameter is actually very big on the board. That means nothing can begin advance or end advance within the 6-inch diameter. Now, let's say we don't care about this flank, right? We just want to shore up our middle board right here, and then maybe a counterattack over here. Put the spore mine here-ish. That means it will most likely cover this objective here. Nothing can end its advance within 6 inches of this, blocking off that whole area. Nothing can do it over here as well. It's very good positioning that you can do with Spore Mine, cutting off these orcs' movement and potential disgusting advance and charge. I think one more thing that some people often forget with Spore Mines is, I do this too, I will often go to start placing my Spore Mine at the end of my movement phase, even though it technically is in my shooting phase. I just want to get it out of the way, make sure I don't forget it, yada, 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 yada. However, Spore Mine is so cool because it's generated in your shooting phase, but it is still screened out by models. You can't do 9 inches within enemy unit models. Okay, so we have Snickrot right here, who has somehow been able to push up into the Tyranid side of the table and has screened out my beautiful Spore Mine 9 inches. Look at, also, if you're an orc player, please be running Snickrot. He is so good. Look at how much he's going to screen off from my beautiful Spore Mine, and all of those shenanigans that we were just talking about before is completely ruined because of Snickrot. Until Malacceptor. So before you even start looking at screens or where to place Spore Mine, understand that you can activate your entire shooting phase and kill screens before you even place your Spore Mine. So what was there at the beginning of your shooting phase, blocking off your Spore Mine, once you start shooting, once you start getting rid of some of your enemy models, look at all that free space. Get out of here, Snickrot. You're not screening me anymore. I can place wherever I want. All right, everybody. Shorter video today. Just wanted to spotlight my favorite guy in the back there, the Biovore. As always, check us out every single Wednesday night. We'll be doing different factions each week. Very competitive gameplay. Lots of really good times. Check out our live streams. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for hanging out.